The Tatar slave raids were a series of devastating incursions by the Crimean Tatars into Eastern Europe, particularly targeting the regions of Poland, Lithuania, Russia, and Ukraine. These raids spanned from the late Middle Ages through the early modern period, roughly from the 15th to the 18th centuries, and left a lasting impact on the demographic and cultural landscape of Eastern Europe. The Crimean Tatars, descendants of the Mongols who had established the Golden Horde, continued their nomadic and raiding traditions even after the decline of their empire. They were adept horsemen and warriors, skilled in the tactics of surprise and speed that allowed them to conduct swift and devastating raids. Their primary objective was to capture slaves, who would then be sold in the thriving slave markets of the Ottoman Empire and beyond. The geography of the steppe region facilitated these raids. The vast, flat plains allowed the Tatars to move quickly and evade larger, slower-moving armies. Their typical raiding season was in the spring and summer when the weather was favorable, and the grasslands provided ample grazing for their horses. The Tatars would often travel in large, coordinated groups, launching attacks on villages, towns, and even cities, taking captives and looting valuable goods. The human cost of these raids was immense. Entire communities could be uprooted overnight, with men, women, and children being captured and taken away. The captives, known as Jasir in the Tatar language, faced a grim future. They were often forced to march long distances back to the Crimean Peninsula, enduring harsh conditions and brutal treatment. Those who survived the journey were sold in slave markets, where they might end up serving as laborers, concubines, or soldiers in the Ottoman Empire or other parts of the Middle East. The economic impact of these raids was also significant. The constant threat of Tatar incursions stifled agricultural and economic development in the affected regions. Many areas were depopulated, as people either fled to safer territories or were captured and taken away. The loss of manpower and the destruction of property hampered economic growth and contributed to the instability and poverty of Eastern Europe during this period. Local rulers and communities tried various strategies to defend against the Tatar raids. Fortified towns and castles were built or strengthened, and watchtowers and signal fires were used to alert the populace of impending attacks. In some regions, militia forces were organized to respond quickly to Tatar incursions. However, these measures were often insufficient against the mobility and ferocity of the Tatar raiders. One of the most infamous aspects of the Tatar slave raids was the practice of the harvesting of the steppe, a term used to describe the systematic and seasonal nature of the raids. The Tatars would sweep through the steppe regions, capturing thousands of people in a single raid. This practice was not only a source of slaves, but also a means of exerting political and military pressure on the neighboring states. By depopulating and destabilizing these regions, the Tatars and their Ottoman overlords could weaken their enemies and maintain a buffer zone around their own territories. The Tatar raids began to decline in the late 17th and early 18th centuries. Several factors contributed to this decline. The rise of powerful centralized states in Eastern Europe, such as the Russian Empire, Poland, Lithuania, and the Ottoman Empire, led to more effective military responses and better defense infrastructure. Additionally, the Crimean Khanate itself began to weaken, both economically and politically, as it faced internal strife and pressure from expanding Russian forces. The final blow to the Tatar slave raids came with the annexation of the Crimean Khanate by the Russian Empire in 1783. This marked the end of the Crimean Tatars' independence and their ability to conduct large-scale raids. The incorporation of Crimea into the Russian Empire also led to significant demographic and cultural changes, as the Russian authorities encouraged settlement by ethnic Russians and other groups, further diminishing the Tatar presence and influence in the region. The legacy of the Tatar slave raids is still evident in the historical memory and folklore of Eastern Europe. Stories of Tatar raids and the suffering they caused have been passed down through generations, often becoming part of the national identity and cultural heritage of the affected regions. These raids also left a lasting impact on the demographic and genetic makeup of Eastern Europe, as many of the captured individuals were never able to return to their homelands. In conclusion, the Tatar slave raids were a dark and destructive period in the history of Eastern Europe. They caused immense human suffering, economic hardship, and political instability. However, they also played a significant role in shaping the historical and cultural landscape of the region, leaving a legacy that continues to be remembered and studied to this day. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the harrowing history of the Tatar slave raids. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into historical events and their lasting impacts. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or if there's a topic you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.